I want you to be in your dragon form. And this is
Okay.
for all of our listeners as well, for anyone who's tuning into this to imagine, sense, visualize everything that Gwen and I describe so you can connect into the energy field. For in each of us, there is dragon energies, for they hold the grids. They hold the grids for Earth, they hold the grids in all of creation.
Intergalactic beings of multi-dimensional realities. Welcome to channeling.
Welcome, Katara Sky. I think the first thing that I would like to ask is, where does your name come from? And what does that mean? What significance it holds for you and for the journey that you're on here on Earth right now?
That's a fabulous question. Thanks, Gwen, for having me.
Yeah.
That's actually something that I've tried to answer a few times because Katara is actually not my birth name. In many ways, it's a soul name. In many ways, it's a spirit name. So the cat part does have the connection back still to my birth name. But it had been many, many years that I was feeling, oh, I've just outgrown this name. It's just not me. It didn't feel like me. And, words have vibration and frequency, and I just wasn't feeling my name. And so I started playing with different variations of it. And eventually, as soon as I heard Katara, which isn't the first time I've heard it because it is made famous by that movie Avatar, The Last
Mm-hmm.
Airbender. And despite the meaning that's associated in that movie, I just felt, oh, like that's it. So Katara came through quite nice and easy. And Sky is actually sort of a truncation of my husband's last name, which is Italian, but quite long and really difficult to pronounce for most, even for me. I said, okay, babe, we're just going to shorten that to Sky. And so Katara has many feelings to me. Sometimes it feels very earth and sky all at once and kind of melting and meeting. Sometimes it feels like it's more about the star spirit in me, because Tara in Sanskrit is about star. And I feel Ka in Egyptian, Sanskrit. Sorry, not Sanskrit, Egyptian is more about the spirit. And I definitely resonate with being from the stars or being connected in that creation or consciousness of stars. So there's a lot of resonance with star energy. But then I feel like it's definitely associated with my dragon aspects of self as well. So I'm still unfolding that. There's a lot of dragon names that end in Ra. Ra. Ra is also sun and that solar energy. And
Mm-hmm.
so as I feel it, sometimes the name that's been given or heard or felt by us is a name that we actually step into, because by the time that our human expression and embodiment is there, it actually matches the frequency of your name and who you be, rather than, okay, now I feel like a Katara, and in 10 years time I might feel like something else. So it's more
Mm-hmm.
like a vision, an energy held out in front of you, so that you're actually in that process being guided by that frequency. So by the time you arrive, and I know we don't really arrive, that
Mm-hmm.
frequency matches. Does that make sense?
It does. I love your explanation, and I'm listening to you speak, and I'm seeing behind you this beautiful art of this dragon and the swirling air movement, like that's in that piece of art. And I'm just like, what a great symbol, what a great image to help pull out the magic from us when we do that, kind of the magic that's available within us. Um, I've had many spiritual names as I've gone through my processes, and And they've all been a doorway into knowing myself in a new way, knowing myself
Right.
beyond what my limited mind can see myself as. And the last one that I received was just recently, and it's
Yeah.
Shoka Itsuro, and it's translated as bright water lone heron. And
Wow.
there's this experience. I was so emotional when I received that name. It was just kind of these floodgates came through me. And this acknowledgement, though, that as I'm with that name, that there's still power, even in this idea of separation and aloneness, that the
Mm.
power can be so great. The vision that comes to me when I'm with that name is almost like, this bed of light, and then the heron, its shadow, its blackness, like that being the keyhole, and me being able
Mm.
to go through it, that being the center of the eye, that being what I get to pass through in order to
Yeah.
claim what I am, if that makes any sense. Um,
Yeah.
so it's fabulous to claim these names and to enter into the energies of what they offer to us. So thank you for sharing that. It's a very, very personal experience, that journey with a name. And as it
It
progresses,
is.
we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, for
Beautiful.
each of us, right, in our multidimensionality and all that we've come here to be and experience in this chosen, lifetime, the animal guides, the allies, the light beings that come to us, I guess they're all like divine breadcrumbs for us to follow and connect to and go into those keyholes and portals just to
Mhm.
come home to self. I know that, we say that everyone is just walking each other home. So I think
Mhm.
when you were sharing with me of how you connected with me, it's like, that's it. We just see ourselves in the reflections from others or of others. And each of us have a piece for each other to help them remember or spark something to
Mhm.
help us through passageways and gateholes. I think that's what I feel.
Oh, I'm getting excited. My center is all giddy right now. I'm very much, I try to really be in the body and embody. And so it's fun when I feel this
Yeah.
giddiness of, oh, yes, yes, we're talking about these doorways. We're talking about entering into this vastness of what we truly are. And this is when I'm like,
Mm,
ah, time to play. Oh my gosh, how exciting. Um, I get
yeah.
so excited with that. So what I do is I just play. I enter into the doorway and I play and see what's ready to bloom, or what is the medicine that comes forward.
Mm,
And this is the joy of what I do. I just love doing this. And before we jumped in, I just wanted to quickly speak about your mission as a light worker. You call yourself a light warrior, a cosmic weaver, which I love that statement, a cosmic weaver. What is the dance that you love to do, and all this quote unquote light work that you do?
yeah. Well, those are the key words that I've really been feeling into the weaving. I was just having this discussion, a very human discussion with my husband last night. And I said, it's not actually that usual for people to have lived in so many places around the world. I lived across 3 continents. I've traveled to 65 countries
Wow.
in my own spiritual and personal development. Modality wise, it's like quite a few. And
Mhm.
so the reflection was actually from one of my teachers who said, look, it's not actually that usual, but because it's so usual for me, it comes very easily. And what I do with it, or my gift or mastery that I'm unfolding, is actually the ability to weave different parts together, whether in this human form of that thing I learned from hypnotherapy combines really nice with that thing from channeling, which connects nice to this is how we do qigong. So in
Mhm.
the human aspect, and as we obviously connect higher to our higher selves, to our allies, to the gateways of our multidimensional self, the energies that I guess, like channel or bring through, I feel are also weaved into whoever's in front of me, the group in front of me. And I feel like I build bridges, and that's very much a
Mhm.
shamanic thing as well. And as we're all channels, and as you know, we are connecting to higher consciousness and bringing it through. And so it really
Mhm.
does feel like sometimes, and I'm getting the visual now of a little spider in the middle of the web, which is interesting as I'm still terrified of spiders. And it's like,
Mhm.
like one leg here and it plucks this web, and one leg here and it plucks that web, and everything is just so connected. And you're just I'm helping others to put things together so that they can weave their web. That's the cosmic weaver aspect that I feel that I'm here to master again.
No, that's so beautiful. I love that image of the spider and the web. And um, there's so many ways that we describe being able to experience reality, I think. And some of us talk about being in a matrix. Some of us talk about the plane of what we're experiencing, or just really the ability or our etheric creative body and how it expands, and
Mhm.
how we explore and expand. And all of them, when you enter into this world and you have a sense visually of how that's expressed, all of them connect in such a beautiful way. Um, to me, it almost feels like this organic space where, I can be experiencing one thing, but then I can enter into what's considered the matrix, or how does it relate to the matrix, or how does, what does the web represent? Is it literally just a grid that we're able to now experience reality through? Or is it our world and our stories that come together to create this full, vibrant sense of life, of how we can understand it? It's a way that we bring depth into our experience of life. So there's all these exciting ways that I love playing with. And I'm just sitting here, I'm going to take a deep breath and kind of feel into where we want to enter and what might be good to do. For me, when I talk about entrance, I talk about a doorway, and there's always a doorway that can present itself, and it could look a million different ways. This doorway, it can be a
Mhm.
tiny seed, it can be archway, it can be a flower, it can be anything, but it can be the doorway, the entrance into to what we're wanting to do. Um, are you ready to play? Do you want to jump in or?
Absolutely. Always. That's the fun of
Um,
this work, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. So because you are bringing in this dragon energy, what comes to me is literally the face of a dragon. Um,
Mm.
and I'm just going to breathe and just describe the opening. And if our energies can connect in some way, I've connected energies in many different ways. Some ways is me describing a feeling, a taste, something that we ingest together, the feeling or the sensation of the space. But I'm literally just seeing the dragon separate into two and it opening. But in the center of this opening, what I'm seeing is like a golden squared form. And in the center is an earth, like a world, a globe. If you can see that. And I'm just seeing it
Mm.
rotate. I'm seeing the rotation of what seems to be earth. That's really interesting.
So I invite you to perceive and ask self, are you one of these dragons?
Why, yes, of course.
Okay. I want you to be in your dragon form. And this is
Okay.
for all of our listeners as well. For anyone who's tuning into this, to imagine, sense, visualize everything that Gwen and I describe so you can connect into the energy field. For in each of us, there is dragon energies, for they hold the grids. They hold the grids for Earth. They hold the grids in all of creation. And so if you are sensing that within you, if you're seeing that outside of you, just be with that.
Mm-hmm.
And feeling that Earth as a beautiful pearl sphere of energy that we can tap into. And perhaps it is Earth because it is the information you need in order to embody and bring back into this portal, which is Earth. And in your dragon self, I want you to come into the center of your being, so into the heart of the dragon. And for everyone to breathe into that center point of stillness. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, like you come into a center of stillness. As below, so above, right? So everything inside is outside. Come into that stillness inside, which is that stillness and galactic point outside.
What's so
What are you
beautiful right
feeling?
now is that me as the dragon, which is so vast, is that now I hold this experience of Earth within me. Like I am literally holding it within me. I am literally the space which is able to hold the experience of Earth. Wow,
Yeah.
so cool.
And so some people experience dragons as tiny, tiny little ones down into the cellular or molecular level. You know, some may see and experience the dragon like we might see it, you know, in the movies, and still others, the vastness of the consciousness of the dragon is as big as the planet, is as big as 10 planets, is as big as the cosmos. And so I don't think anything is better or worse. It's just our experience of it. And if you are large enough to contain the living library of what is the earth experience, so come into that merge with that and just feeling what keys are being presented to you
Beautiful.
and what information the dragon is actually receiving. Ah, yeah. Breathe, expand into that stillness, where that stillness that is a pin of a space expands into a million times bigger. Oh, yasha, yasa, ario watea shiata, oh, yata, Feels like a very mother energy for me, like holding you in that sphere. What are you feeling?
Yeah, now it's interesting to feel because now I feel like I'm being held by the mother, all the way from the one that's holding all of it into the one being held deep, deep, deep within the experience of the mother. And I can say it's like being held in an egg, but in a way it's not. It's this experience of life, what is being shared with me. This experience of life is like it's giving me a chance to have a new birth and be held by the mother, to know what that is, to have a mother and the mother consciousness, knowing and recognizing, and a deep sense that care of their being able to be a mother, that I will never be lost and I will always have a home. So no matter how far I expand, no matter how far I reach, that there's this aspect. It's very emotional for me, being able to feel a sense of mother. That I literally feel her body, like almost like her organs, like they're connected to me, like I'm one with her and I will never be lost. Like even as I sprout my wings to fly, so to speak,
Yeah.
that I am of her. And so I will never be lost. Like I'm always held. There's this sense right now that I'm feeling. So this feels like medicine for me in my heart right now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I just want you to merge into that. So for everyone who is, merging into the aspects of remembering that mother consciousness, feminine consciousness is always within. So just take a moment for yourself and just be with that. Every time you breathe, I want you to expand the stillness of the heart. And all the sounds around are just part of it. Yeah, that happens all the time for me.
Nieces and nephews and
Yeah. Okay, I'm
so
just gonna make a
yeah,
little
I'm
bit of toning. I want you to merge and just be with it, okay? Because it's like needing to settle
mm,
into place.
yeah,
Ueya,
because now
ueyansa, ueyoansa, ueyansa. Oeyan sa.
oh, I allow myself to enter even deeper. There's a part of me that wants to stand by and be the one that's able to describe and separate and be the one aware of and of it. And then there's part of me saying, oh no, you do get to enter even deeper. And simply it's the sense of oneness. Like it's so vast.
Yes. And this
And
is, like,
ironically, I'm in dark, which a lot of people would be afraid of, but this is just complete oneness, it feels like.
mm. But like you described, that you need to go through the shadow of the heron as the keyhole, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if we're working on entering through the light or entering through the shadow. Everything in the yin and the yang and the polarity of our universe right now is you need to have both sides and both merged where there is no separation. When does light become dark? When is dark becoming light? It's like looking at a thermometer. Where does it delineate where hot becomes cold and cold becomes hot? There isn't. So it's one and the same on the spectrum. You're just perceiving whatever you perceive. And for everyone to allow themselves this merge of the greatness, the grandeur, the vastness, the energies, the cosmicness is not outside of you, but it is part of you. And someone else may again only reflect that truth back to you and help you to build that bridge, to connect, and to vibrate it into more resonance, to strengthen that connection that is within you. So I'm seeing that energy kind of in your nervous system or in your pathways, and as you might sound or make a tone, and I'll just do a little bit more for you to extend it out like all the nerves in your body and reaching that awareness and new information that all of us are these cosmic beings that have access to the living library of information, whether it be dragon and creation consciousness or the cosmic mother. Whatever it is that we tap into, we can breathe that and access that from that living library, the universal mind around us. Oea siata wea tu Ariaya se And let sound be the carrier of information. Let light be the carrier of information. And be aware of what the body is experiencing and doing. Make a tone for yourself if that feels good. Ediansa, 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 hueyantam. And just giving yourself the patience of remembering of whatever divine time that it takes, and that all the ways that you perceive and receive is already grand and masterful, and that is for you to share your gifts. And as you do this work, and this is a message for Gwen, but for others as well, that you are already on the path of human becoming and accessing more and more of that light within that is coming out into an expression and embodiment.
As I'm feeling into this expression, can you please speak more about this expression of a human becoming? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I've never said that before. Human becoming, it's almost like, we can get very attracted to the glamour of, some of this spiritual work and being our multidimensional self, and we're dragons and we're fairies and angels and all of this. But we have come and incarnated as human for us to grab all that information, embody it, anchor it into this human form, and express it as a human being, right? And in that expression of human being, I know that, we're just being, we're actually called human beings, but we are also becoming, what are we becoming? And that becoming, I feel, is that unfolding of that magic, unfolding of more and more of your true self coming through. So if, let's say 10 years ago, you weren't aware of dragons, that part hasn't come into your consciousness yet in your human life and in the ways that dragon might influence your human offerings and life, and as a healer and as a channeler. So it's just not part of that experience, even though it's there, but it innate and maybe dormant or inactive. So to me, when I use the words human becoming, it feels like as much as we're connecting and unfolding the multidimensionality and cosmic and whatever, self we are, it's actually bringing it into this realm in that human embodiment and expression. Otherwise, why does it matter? Like, if we're going to be monks living in a cave and, great if that's their path, connected to all of these realms and, being enlightened, that might be their journey. But I feel like that embodiment of it and really being true to how does your expression want to be in this life. Some of us are here to be monks in a cave and just be enlightened and share that frequency. Others are here as communicators, as dispersers or, sharers of information. And still others may never talk about spirituality, but they are a high frequency. So the human becoming is the embodiment of these higher dimensional frequencies and our self mastery in this human form. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, I'm what I'm feeling in essence, and I've always really felt the embodiment of what might be considered these frou-frou experiences is actually what the magic is, what we're here to do. In a way, it's almost claiming an expansion of the reality that can be present here. It's like saying, look at what more you are, let's invite this in under the possibilities of what you truly are. Let's open this gate a little bit more. And how does that flow within my life? How does that express? Does it mean that as a dragon, when I encounter a quality or a feeling that's maybe terrifying, can I hold it in my furnace? Can I have a furnace that that as fire, I can remold things for a better life? Can I remold things for a better life? Like, or can I use the sense of air in a powerful way for myself? You know, if I'm a dragon that uses air, or, these other elements, or even bringing in the idea of other elements like the etheric body, and how can I feel that in the everyday world? Like, what does that feel like as I walk down the street? Can I walk down the street and have a sense of what my etheric form is, or what an etheric experience is? So for me, that's exciting. To me, that's an exciting thing to like play with, to jump into. And when I heard you say this human, becoming, I am from a Zen Buddhist tradition, and so this being is very much strongly something that I grab a hold of, but also being humble enough to recognize, like, I am a human becoming, and I am playing this small form of me, and I can acknowledge that and not expect that this small form of me has to be all of it. I get to be Gwen, and I'm in a becoming experience. And I can acknowledge that I'm in a becoming experience rather than expecting myself to already be become. So we would be at the end of it if we were already
Yeah.
become. That I can enjoy the process of the becoming, that part
That's
of
right.
it. Sometimes I don't enjoy the process of becoming, and I get to learn, and that I can embrace that more. I can embrace that becoming more, the process of it.
Yeah.
I can
Well, it's not
open my,
always easy in the becoming, is it? I mean,
yeah,
whether we call that a becoming, whether we call that an awakening, everything
yeah,
is an invitation for us to be more aware of the things that we weren't previously aware to.
yeah,
If I flash back, 10 years, maybe even less than that, I was in a completely different reality. I was working in corporate, much more than 9 to 5, like I had no awareness of any body other than this physical one that was being depleted and drained every day. I had
yeah,
no awareness of the allies, the spirits, other realms. I had no idea. Everything was, foo-foo and airy-fairy and just not grounded in reality. But
mhm,
I think the one key trait that I always had and still have, and I encourage others, is curiosity. It's in the curiosity and in the playfulness of like entertaining. Well, what if that was true? And what
mhm,
if I experimented with that? And what if I put a different lens on that? And it's the what ifs that have led me down many rabbit holes and exploring, but with the critical mind, right? And that's something else, like people have to remember to critically think for themselves. Just because
mhm,
some authority figure and they may have millions of followers and be very famous, just because they tell you something is it? This
yeah,
is our journey for us to discern, what do we feel when we listen to that person speak? What do we feel when we hear that? What do we feel? And it's in that feeling and in the awareness of all the things we feel and going into the shadows of it, because the feelings and emotions are just energies in motion for us to analyze, that we can uncover more gems about ourselves. Because if we stop critically thinking and just accept, yep, this is exactly how we, I don't know, be on the path for enlightenment. This is how we connect with Dragon. This is how we channel. Like nothing is dogmatic. Everything
yeah,
here in this human dimension is available for us to choose our path, million paths to roam. And it wasn't built in a day for us to experience what we need to. It's our direct revelation, which is a shamanic path, which is our human becoming and multidimensional path. It's important for us to stay curious, but be grounded in critical thinking and to
mhm,
discern, right? To discern. You can't just accept everyone. If what everybody said was true, everyone's living and everyone is living in their own personal truth and reality. But the more that we can connect to light, spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, the more that we can align to universal truths rather than just our personal truth of this is true for me right now. right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're on the path of universal truth, your truths will still be in that path of light that holds that. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. The more you study and you look at universal truth, I think the more it mirrors, even if it's a different flavor, they mirror each other in some way. You can feel maybe the tradition from whence they came from, the people, the old traditions, the other things that are tied to it. But at the core of it, the you can feel that light, you can feel the truth, the
Mm-hmm.
collective unity, I think, in it. And for me, I think that's something that I look for, that's the thing I connect with. And I wanted to say right now, like, we're talking about connecting to this light, this truth, and I'm feeling into my body from the medicine I just experienced with you, because what we just experienced is a medicine. It's a kind of medicine. And the medicine and what I'm feeling in my body is that I started feeling the lotus open, this beautiful lotus opening, and it coming up into my third eye, and it becoming just a really soft and beautiful experience in my third eye of this lotus opening, and that movement being more softened, I guess you could say, in how I'm experiencing it. So what a beautiful medicine, like,
Mm.
that that what's coming through and what I'm experiencing through that space is now is I feel this softening around it, and like a lotus is slowly opening. So that's what a beautiful medicine. And that's
Well, we
through
have lots of
Katara.
lotus here. We have the lotus here. And we have Gwen Yin who always sits on the lotus. So she's
Yeah.
always, here to hold the space as Divine Mother and protector of the children.
Hmm.
And, that's something I like I don't even think that I'm that conscious of it per se, but it just feels like it always comes through. It's holding the space with so much just love, like
Hmm.
seeing each other through the eyes of love, and that everyone is just like a little child that you want to hold, and you know what I mean, like even as I
Yeah.
do that for myself, it's like, what am I feeling? Can I hold myself like a child tenderly? What are you feeling? What would you like? How can you be happy? It's
Yeah.
so important. Again, whether that's inner child work, the medicine of Guanyin, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Everything, you hold it to that frequency of love, I think it can go very far.
Yeah. I know, I feel that. And I'm just kind of allowing that medicine to kind of work its way through me right now. And just feel what's arising within me. There's actually quite a lot of emotion now
Yeah,
that
I can feel
that
that.
is that's kind of rising from the depths of the center of me. I mean,
Thank you.
I've been in a what I feel like to be a long path. And as I say that, my guides chuckle and laugh at me. Um, in my
Mm.
life. They're like, like, this is so slow, Gwen. But um, but at times it feels like a long path, and along that path, I've been that stalwart student of, okay, I'm gonna find those things that are like messing me up, so to speak. I'm gonna
Mm.
figure those things out. Um and I've done so many different practices, and sometimes I feel like, have some of those practices erased my ability to really go to the deepest part and feel the deep pain that's like really there. And I
Mm.
think I feel that what's rising in me right now is, can I really acknowledge that deep pain that somehow I've I've experienced? I think a part of me, there's part of me that maybe that says, like, if I acknowledged it, then maybe it would want to come up with a reason why I'm experiencing all that pain. Like I did
Okay.
something, right? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
maybe. Sure.
Like I
And
did
maybe we
something to
did.
experience that. Yeah.
And so what if we did? So I'm going to ask you in the way that I'm
Yeah.
curious, right? Is what
Exactly.
if we did?
Yeah. What
And
if
so
I
what if we
did?
practice this?
Well,
Yeah.
then I did.
Yeah. And can we hold
But I
enough
did.
love and compassion for ourselves? And obviously, this isn't
Yeah.
just a message for Gwen, right?
Yeah.
Each of us can feel that as the emotions arise, we want to potentially squash it down. So, Gwen, I'm going to teach you one practice. I want you to expand that feeling that you feel in the body
Mm-hmm.
and just give it space to move like, like those stretchy balls or like a thing where
Yeah.
it's like this and it goes. And I want you to expand it so that it reaches the sides of the room and let the breath be the vehicle and give it space to move. Right? Everything is held in our body, it's held in our DNA, in the cells, whatever level. And let's just pull one dragon card for you. I felt when I woke up and opened my eyes, I felt, okay, that's the oracle deck that wants to come through. And it's the ability for us to forgive ourselves, past selves, younger selves, for all that
Mm-hmm.
we have done and all that we have created. Okay, we connected first
Yes.
to that creation energy, but for us to not be shaming, blaming anything that we've created,
Yeah.
because when you create, we don't have to. And it's funny, I'm just seeing the image of mom and children, right? Like we want them to be well, we want them to do well, but we feel, oh, like, there's a responsibility of what they become. And so this energy is asking of us of can we hold that creation code and not have to blame, shame, or be attached to what becomes of that energy.
Yeah.
And so the parts of you that hold that, and what if I did that thing? Yeah. And even if it is a bad thing, and I have experienced that in one of my recent healings, I was the enslaver of dragons. I had such extreme grief and guilt, right? That I needed to really feel because it was like, oh, I did wrong. And then feel the forgiveness of self to be like, that's okay. I'm here now to liberate all of my own dragon consciousness. As I was trying to merge and connect with dragon, I couldn't because I was still feeling the guilt. Am I worthy of their medicine? Am I worthy to work with them? Oh my God, I've offended, I have enslaved them. So it's the ability for
Yeah.
us to go in to say, let me liberate that feeling and emotion, that energy within us, okay, so that we can move into more love and friendship and trust. And that's the card the dragons have pulled out. It's a little
Trust. That's
tiny dragon,
beautiful.
on our shoulders. And it's like a little guy. It's okay. Yeah. And
So
the other card is
interesting. Yeah.
constellation that comes
I
up
wanted
is,
to interject
yeah.
really quick on that. As I'm feeling this expansion and of course I love using the breath, and this is a magnificent thing because what's arising, another voice was hidden in there of I did something wrong. And now I'm just like, okay, I can allow myself to have done something wrong, and I'm expanding that now. So it's really interesting to feel the different layers of what's hiding in here, which is fabulous.
Mm.
So I love that first one was the first card was trust. Was that right?
Yeah. The theme is trust. And it's about cultivating the love and friendship. And I feel like it's actually with ourselves, the love that we can hold for ourselves. How can we be friends with all of our shadows, with all of our wrongdoings? How can we be friendlier to ourselves as well? And the second card to support that is truly the energy. I have this little house mouse, and I can just see it like outside the room. That's
I
hilarious.
heard a little
Um,
squeaky something.
I was like, who's that shadow? My husband's not in the house. It's a little mouse who's walking by. The second card is resources, and it's a card you can't actually see it. I actually wonder what constellation that is. I'll have a look in a moment. There's a
Mm.
star constellation in the middle of it, and I feel like it's reminding us to pull in the resources that we have access to, again, within that star consciousness within ourselves. Okay, and the star that it's calling to is the constellation is called Carina.
Mm.
It resources implores you to reinforce your stronghold by focusing on your material means, which is your wealth, your bounty, and your resources. Build up in your arsenal, strengthen and fortify. Time for earthly endeavors. That's very interesting. Like where I'm seeing the connection is I feel like it's talking about the earth body, the temple of this body. And I
Mhm.
spoke about that when you're feeling something. It's like, so where is it in the body? This is holding everything, the wisdom of our body. We have to remember not to get caught in connecting out here. I'm out here. Ah, the Akasha, the whatever is telling me this information. Great. But if it is as below, so above, as within, so without, that means if you go inside the body and connect as well, same information.
Yes.
If you go inside and dive into that heart, it's the same to connect if you're out there. So maybe it's a reminder for us, like, do not neglect, actually prioritize coming into the wealth of information and available resources that are in here. What are the experiences that are also held by this body that I already understand how forgiveness is, that I already understand love and compassion and friendliness and trust? If you did not trust your capacity and ability to connect with spirit world and realms, you would not be doing this work. So it's in
Mhm.
that same trust that is a transferable skill, an asset that you transfer to this. And now I shall trust myself that I too have enough capacity to rise and hold this and let it arise and softly return it into the light. That's what's coming
Beautiful.
through.
I appreciate it. I'm feeling it really strongly. It's a beautiful medicine for me right now, and especially there's a lot of shifts and changes that are happening in my material life right now. And it's a beautiful medicine for me too. I'm using both of cards, lighting them up to trust that I may gather fortification of in the material world, like that there that what I need in this transition is here, right, for me. And I
Mm.
get to claim my abundance. I get to claim what I have, like rather than in the shock, I'm gonna be moving here in like a week and a half. And like it's almost a shock to my system in some ways. I'm saying, okay, I can trust it and I can see, wow, there is so much abundance that will support me and assist me as I make this shift in my life. And I get to
Mm.
trust. I get to trust that I can pull that in, that I can acknowledge my bounty, that I can acknowledge the support that's here
Mhm.
for me, like right here, right now. There's a lot that's clearing through. So this is beautiful medicine, but it's so soft, it's not like it's not tearing me apart to do this, to kind of just allow this dissipation and all these little things. I feel these like dark spots, and so I'm like, oh, I'm curious, what are you? I'm curious.
Mhm.
Will you have a name? Will you say something? Like, is there something that you're going to express as I kind of just open this up and invite it to open and come back into the light, which is really beautiful right now. And there's just so much light. It's like,
Mm.
no wonder why. It's like, I just get to give space for it.
That's right.
I just get to give space for it.
It's a very conscious practice to bring in the light, And that's another interesting topic, probably another chat. But as I fell back into a qigong practice and understood more, again, universal laws, like laws of the
Mhm.
universe. How do we have more light in the body? How do we channel greater frequencies? That's actually all in
Yeah,
my qigong practice. How can we hold more in our field and not get overwhelmed and fry our circuits? So that's,
beautiful.
probably something we can talk about on the side, but really
I
important for
would
all
love
light
that. Yeah, I would
so that
love
we
that.
become robust in this, uh,
Robust. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
something really funny came through and it said robust. It's like I must increase my bust. It's
Yeah.
a line from a well-known children's book, teenagers book or whatever, but I thought that's hilarious. I must
Mm.
increase my bust. But I think this is probably a key medicine for me too, what you're speaking about right now, because I'm coming in contact with people who are talking about this increased light dimension that we can
Yep.
hold within ourselves. And I mean, having really strong contact with that with a lot of people. And so, I mean, what fun this discovery is. One thing that I tell myself often, or something that I feel is the basis of me, is that I feel that my entity, or what I am, really decided that I was just going to have a lot of surprises in my life. Like it's just like
Mm.
going to be like, oh, really? Oh, how exciting. Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
That really was going to be my life. Like I was going to enter into not knowing so many times that it would just be what I do, and be surprised like all the time, and like come to see, oh, I thought that was that way, but oh my gosh, look at it this way. Oh, I see it in a
Mm.
completely new way. Um, and this is showing up in a completely new manner for me. So
Yep.
the ways we can play and experience ourselves is vast. This is so beautiful because I'm feeling now this space, what I'm feeling at the core of this. There's a few little things that are just hanging out inside of me that are just like, I feel like they're kind of attached to my walls, I guess you would say. They're just like, okay. I see you. You're so cute. Uh, I'm just discerning, like, okay, do I get to be with you now? They feel like they're little, kind of these little wormies that are gonna pop out. I know that sounds really weird. People are like, oh, that's gross. This is just me.
All right, let's just do one
Um,
last sound transmission then and see which of those can be invited to return to the light quickly and what is
yeah,
actually left for you to look at.
let's do that.
Okay, so I want you to be fully present in the heart, in the body, just noticing what is arising, and not so much from the emotions and from the visions, but what is moving, the physical sensations in the body. Okay. And just notice where those sensations are for you right now. And give them more space to breathe. Open the field, press that light and the area in which it occupies to the sides of the room. Oe ashianta ashiasa ariantiasa oe. Eya sashya. Sureta irtata. Iya shuesa. Let the medicine of air come in clean and clear, whatever is ready to drift off like feathers in the wind. Ueya sayatu. Oeya sayantaheya. whatever remains, perhaps it's like, when you go through the autumn, what didn't seed or blossom, they go into the next round. They
Yeah.
regerminate or whatever that process is. It feels like that. It's not like you need to, oh, let's get rid of it. It just goes
Yeah.
back and maybe it seeds the next cycle. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
How does that feel in
Yeah.
your body?
That feels good. I can feel those specific spots. And yeah, it's not like there's a point in me that says, oh, I have to get this taken care of right now. Because that trust card is like, I recognize that what's ready is ready and the
Yeah,
timing is right for it. And
that's right.
I can love that I am this person in process or person, you know,
Human
it-
becoming.
human becoming, that's the word. That's human becoming. That's the medicine for me. I'm just sitting here with this. I'm feeling the light. It's so interesting, just visually and being with my body for a moment. There's something that my guides would like to share with you, Katara, before we exit our beautiful experience together today. And I'm feeling almost like there's a scroll and it's kind of closing up. It's quite fun. So it's closing up. Beautiful. It's so interesting how we can, how each of us comes into contact and how we see things. So that scroll is closing up so beautifully. Thank you for sharing your medicine. That was so beautiful. I'm just going to come down to my center. I still feel I'm in this dragon energy, which is so fab. And from here, since my podcast is called Welcome to Channeling right now, and I'm going to be making a shift into another realm of play, but right now it's called Welcome to Channeling. I wanted to drop in. Okay, my guides, hello, welcome. I invite you in. What would you like to share with Katara today? I already knew I could feel something about you and your husband. And this might be personal and we can just cut it out. So what my guides are saying, we see a beautiful dance between you and your husband. And as you're aware and with him, recognize that you are also creating a map, an energy that others may become aware of and follow as you learn to develop beautiful communication, holding space for each other, learning how you may voice yourselves in any way you desire, and that all is safe to do so, that your experience on earth will broaden and expand and brighten. You will become even more adventurous in your experience, and it will naturally be shared with others. You have an opportunity and are embracing the opportunity to share a new way of relation with each other, of true partnership. We encourage you and bless you, and we watch as this unfolds. We invite you also to be aware of perhaps systems of frameworks that may hold you, perhaps what may be called an ideology. As you develop and see this ideology, it will be a natural way of expressing to others how you walk together, how you are held, how you hold each other, and how you freely move with each other. This is also a medicine for Gwen to feel into and invite it into her life. Oh, thank you for this beautiful interaction. Yeah, that's that. Even if there may be rocky things that occur in marriage, um, yeah, they're just pointing out something beautiful that's there and the opportunity that's there. So
Yeah, I
I
like
don't know
the
why
other
that came
side.
through. That's interesting.
Well, in the medicine path, I
Mm-hmm.
definitely have felt more and more that we walk together on it. You know, it's sacred union and also in the expression of our medicine together. And that isn't,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the Katara show or, you know, his show. It's like how do we shine together? There's space for us all, for us both, but we are just one
Yeah.
embodiment of that as well, you know. And again, as you said, very rightfully so, to allow the safety for each of us to express, to speak, you know, our
Mm-hmm.
truths, and then show that that path is possible to others, you know, other couples, other people who are journeying in this way in any collaboration of their work and energies. So it's definitely a process I'm still learning through, and to
Mm-hmm.
find, you know, that we are all map makers. There are beautiful maps to follow, and I'm grateful for that. But we are also here creating our own maps for those who
Mm-hmm.
resonate with that to follow as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that part of what came through me was felt very particular too. That being able to offer the space that each you can have your own voice and you can say and express in whatever
Mm,
way you feel
yeah.
is important. So yeah, I'm just checking in with my guides, and this feels like a beautiful flower. I'm just feeling into my body and my system and kind of checking in. You never know if there's some last thing like this to come through. Is there anything else that gets to be shared today? No, an invitation. An invitation that now that we've met kind of in physical form, I'm reaching through
Mm,
my um that um that we now have this connection that we can touch into each other and touch base in our journeys. And
mm,
if there's other times when we wish to speak, I invite it forward, but we can offer beautiful medicine to each other. Um, and I feel like I'm looking into you as a dragon and seeing you in that form. And it almost feels like we're flying. I'm flying, and suddenly it's like we're coming toward each other, and it's like I can clasp your claws or whatever or
mm.
something. You know what I'm saying? And kind of feel this beautiful honoring of us holding each other, and for a moment, just a moment, recognizing and feeling that light, that energy, and us flying at the same time. Um, and yeah, there's this bond, this beautiful bond and recognition. So thank you. Thank you for the medicine, Katara. And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much for being with me today. And one last thing, I just wanted to check in with you. For those people who are jumping into this journey of being a channeler, what we call channeling, is there something that you would like to share, like through your journey, something that you would want them to be aware of, some kind of support for them kind of taking a leap into this realm?
Mm, I feel like that trust card, that trust message comes back. And because, as you've already said a few times, you know, information comes to each of us differently, and that we
Mm-hmm.
have to practice and train, and it is all within us. So the message is that trust that you have that gift and ability to do it, and that you will do it in your own unique way.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to caveat that with an asterisk to say, and learn how to discern and work with energy, right? I think people
Mm-hmm.
are channeling all kinds of stuff. but the purity of what we channel, if it is from source, from our guides, but where are our guides from? Are they in the astral realm? Are they, I don't know, people who've passed over and haven't gone to the light? Like, you can channel all kinds of beings. So everyone can channel, but the path to really channeling of love and light for the benefit of all, right? Because whatever you channel, it can also still be helping you, even if you're channeling shadow selves. So I feel like being on a path where you're actually trained to discern energy, to work with energy, I really feel like people need to be reminded of this part as well. And I think I've been through, lots of trainings where they just don't talk about that part. It's easy to spontaneously burst into our light language and, our toning, like it is natural. But if we don't know where it comes from or what the frequency or ultimately, the vibration of it, it's just important to keep that in mind, I think.
Yeah. And I think as we practice more and more, and use our discernment, we can start navigating and feeling our way through that. That discernment is important. Discernment is a good word. When I first started learning, I just wanted to bring this up. When I claimed it, I kind of followed a formula Lee Harris put out. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Lee Harris, who's a channeler. Yeah. Yeah, he's a sweet, sweet man. And his direction opened me, after many, many years of working up to like really claiming it, opened me up to instantly, like I was open and connected. And one thing that I thought was very good of him to bring up is that when you channel, really observe your relationship with what comes through your channeling, study it, and see if the relationship is a good one. I think for me, that was a good beginning of discernment with what's being contacted and what you're coming in contact with. So thank you for your sharing. I am getting so much awesome medicine. I'm going to be sharing how people can get a hold of you, Katara. I will be putting all the links down here, and you are going to be my first video Welcome to Channeling podcast. And I thank you so much for being here with me, and blessings to you and your family and all you interact with.
Likewise. Thank you. Much love.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Welcome to Channeling. Till the next episode, own your stage and play on.
Hot Muffin Media.